Good evening. We're going to start our presentation real quick. My name is Arnold Castaneda. I'm the general manager here at Fuse Technical Group. I would like to thank all of you for joining us tonight. This is a great turnout. We're really excited to share our space. We're extremely proud of our new space that we have here, and we're really excited to show you everything we have. Just after I'm done, I'm going to pass the mic over to our virtual production team, who has a huge expertise in what you see behind me and making it look real on film. But what we do a lot more things here as well. I just want to speak about quickly. We're a full-service production company. We support some of the largest events in the industry. As a lot of you guys know, you guys are in this industry. This includes concert touring, which is one of our main things we do. We do a lot of concert touring. We do camera systems, like you see here. We do LED walls like this. We do lighting. But we also do other things. We do corporate staging. We do exhibits. We do live broadcast events, sports. We also do a lot of award shows that you guys watch. We're excited to show you this new little thing we're doing here and what we put together. What sets us apart here, I'm just going to briefly speak. For me, it's not the gear, it's the people. We have the absolute best crew here. I've been blessed to help put this whole thing Fuse in LA together and handpick a lot of the people that work here. And we have some amazing people. A true group of professionals. And it starts with the owners, fantastic owners that we work with daily. Love them, love dealing with them. Also, just the people around, the engineers, the salespeople, the operations staff, second to none. We go to battle every day, we succeed, and we have an amazing time doing it. We really have a good time. My job as general manager is to make sure we all come here, we're safe, things happen on time, we get the job done, we do it beautifully, and we have an amazing time. My goal is we have a good time doing it. And that's what we want to share with you guys here. So that feeling, when you talk to our group, you talk to our people, please, anyone wearing a badge tonight, speak to them. They work for us. They're great. Get to know them, learn what they do. They'll talk about it. And hopefully we have you guys come visit again, spend some time here doing a production with us. And we're really excited, again, just to show you the entire space. I'm going to pass this over now to Mitch, and he's going to give you some input on this.
Good. Hey everybody, how are you doing? Hey, my name is Mitch Lathrop. My role here at Fuse is to support the virtual production efforts that we do here at Fuse. And tonight I want to share some of the dynamic products and services that we have to offer. I'm about to give you a lot of information. If you have any questions, feel free to find me or one of my colleagues after the presentation. Describing virtual production can be a challenge because there's so many parts and pieces. So let me break it down into some smaller building blocks, into components, assemblies, and products. Components are the individual parts and pieces. Assemblies are the individual parts coming together to make workflows and pipelines, and then we take those workflows and pipelines and turn them into products and services. Products and services like this stage are long-term and pop-up stages and our volume operation services. So let's start with the LED and processing. Something that we have a lot of is evidenced by the stacks of cases stashed everywhere in this building that people are not walking. Fuse had the advantage of coming into the virtual production market already using LED tiles and owning a large amount of LED tiles because we use them in concerts, festivals, corporate events, and installations. So the next component after the LED and the processing that we want to talk about is how we get the video signals all the places that they need to go. We have a wide variety of video engineering screens management solutions that can be applied across the spectrum of entertainment production, from theatrical to broadcast and to live events. Next up is media servers. We have a really talented team led by Ryan Middlemas that builds engineering racks and playback servers. These machines are driving content playback, is what we're seeing here, and it's the cutting edge of display and compute technology right now. But as you all know, the gear is nothing without a fantastic seasoned team of experts. In our smaller virtual production circle, we design, engineer, build, and operate LED volumes, XR stages, and we support our clients and partners in this developing field. In the wider Fuse circles, we rely on and collaborate internally with our teams to achieve and develop everything that you see here. Our broadcast, our LED team, our manufacturing department, concert touring group, and media server group, they've come together with all of us, and we build these solutions that can stand up in the toughest production environments. And we wouldn't be anywhere without our outstanding operations team that makes sure that all this equipment and gear gets wherever we are in the world, and then it shows up on day one, and it's ready to go, and it's calibrated to perfection. The last component that we want to talk about is our partners. A special shout out to Rowe, who manufactures the LED tiles we see here, to Brompton, that manufactures the processing that gets the images to the screen, to Epic Games and Unreal Engine, who we partnered with, and also with Disguise, who we also have a deep partnership with. They've been true partners to us, and as we give them feedback, they make their products better. We call them in a panic when things don't work. They pick up the phone, and it's a really great relationship. And Ritchie will kind of elaborate on some of these other relationships that we have shortly. Now that we have our components, let's talk about how we assemble them into workflows and into pipelines. In broad terms, we're talking about how we assemble the equipment and the people to achieve the creative intent of a production stakeholder. We'll do a deep dive on some of these practices later in the presentation, but in a nutshell, our team at Fuse has a proven and successful track record of collaborating with creatives, vendors, manufacturers, and technologists to come up with reliable solutions that deliver time and time again. If you take a look back at our volume operations bar back there in the corner that is running this stage, you can see that we have a lot of people running a lot of technology. And what's happening over there right now is a product of years of experience and a variety of entertainment genres, spanning live events, rock and roll, music festivals, corporate events, theater, immersive experiences, broadcast, visualization, and now video game development. I feel like at Fuse we have a collection of the best and brightest in the industry, and some of us have been working together for over a decade to work on these projects, and we've done some truly amazing and groundbreaking things. Okay, so now let's talk about how we take these assemblies of parts and pieces and turn them into products. Products like this stage. We have we're launching officially tonight, stage 1 here, and stage 2, which is across the warehouse, and our production suite that's across the way. We also, in addition, have Fuse 42 stage that's located in Times Square, and we have a partnership with Manhattan Beach Studios and Bethpage, Long Island for another LED volume there. These spaces are an investment that we have made in virtual production with our time and resources to help further the practice of virtual production. We have built these stages with maximum flexibility in mind. Our goal is to use these spaces to work with productions looking to get started in virtual production and to educate the community and also to contribute to our research development and collaboration with our creative and manufacturing partners. Now let's talk about long-term virtual production installations. Once the virtual production techniques shifted from experimental, the next phase was figuring out the economies of scale. We've collaborated with several large studios to build long-term or permanent/semi-permanent LED volume facilities. In our partnership with Industrial Light and Magic and the Walt Disney Company, we've collaborated on the design and build of several stages over Manhattan Beach for projects like The Mandalorian. We have built and are supporting a stage at Disney Television Studios in Burbank, and also a stage in Vancouver for Lucasfilms. With Amazon Studios, we've collaborated to build the largest LED volume in the United States over in Culver City, and they recently had their very well-received and successful launch event. At the studio level, resources can be marshaled across many different properties to create a maximum efficiency utilization business model so they can get as much in there and make the best utilization of the space. But that's not where this all started out. We started this journey about a decade ago by working with individual productions to help lay the solid foundations of virtual production workflows and to bring about some of the early iterations of the tools that we have that we're currently using here. Some of the projects that took a leap of faith were Gravity, Passengers, Deadpool, Murder on the Orient Express, and First Man, which, by the way, we won a visual effects Oscar that year for the work we did in partnership with DNA. Jared Leclerc, Lauren Esposito, William Newman, Oliver Tadeo, Ryan Gonzalez, and I, along with the rest of the team, worked relentlessly back then to keep up with the unknowns and the ever-changing demands of production, and it was well worth our time and efforts. As time went on, there were other major milestones in the single production serving solutions that we now refer to as pop-ups. We did Fox's X-Men Dark Phoenix, Marvel's Thor Love and Thunder, and most recently Apple TV's Emancipation. Our team, and especially Lauren Esposito, works with production teams and producers to figure out how we can make the economics of these single-use volumes work. At Fuse, we have leveraged our experience and expertise to sharpen our workflows and build better tools that allow us to deploy these pop-ups faster, make them more reliable, while staying on budget. So let's talk about some of the custom developments that we've done here at Fuse. From the software side, Andrew Brode has tirelessly been developing and preparing to launch an app that will operate on all major platforms that will allow volume operators, engineers, and other users to control with ease the vast amount of engineering resources that is required to operate a volume stage. We'll be releasing a public beta soon in the App Store, and we're very excited about this development, and we will be sharing more information soon. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about hardware. As you can see in the warehouse, we have a manufacturing area with 3-axis and 5-axis CNC machines, 3D printers, laser engravers, and a team of very talented people that come up with really great solutions. We've been manufacturing custom equipment racks and technical desks, custom LED hardware, and many other bits and bobs for touring and broadcast markets, as well as anyone else at Fuse or any of our clients that have a crazy idea that needs to be realized very rapidly. We built on that in the virtual production group by modifying some of our existing designs and coming up with new ones to solve virtual production related challenges. We're focused on rapid deployment, building rugged and sustainable workspaces and surfaces for our operators and engineers in the field. Here's some examples of the racks that we manufacture custom for Industrial Light and Magic and for our other studios. Our latest big challenge was to solve how to make a server room disappear in 30 days. We got the whole team together and broke the news that we had landed this LED job to build an LED volume stage, or in partnership with Manhattan Beach in Bethpage. And there was going to be no place to put the server room that needed HVAC power and to house a lot of very expensive equipment. We came up with a plan to modify a 40-foot shipping container to house our server racks, keep everything nice and cool inside. We had to source and modify the container. We had to manufacture all the custom parts and pieces, procure all the engineering infrastructure, and install all of that out here in California before shipping it to New York, all while staying on time and budget, which was definitely a challenge and ruined several people's vacations. But this is some renderings of what we built there. This is currently standing in Bethpage at our studio with Manhattan Beach. A special thanks to Blair Potwin, who we brought on as a consultant to help make this happen. On the construction side, now Blair is a full-time employee here at Fuse, so thank you. Just on a personal note, I've been about 10 years with this team. They're a family. It's been great. I started out doing concert tours and corporate shows and music, live broadcast events and things like that, and now recently, about 6 years ago, moved into full-time virtual production work. I'm so thankful to the Dundees and to Adam Benjamin for believing in me and supporting me and all this crazy stuff that I'm like, hey, we should do this, and it's going to cost a lot of money, and eventually one day it'll be great. Lauren and Will are super close to me and special, and our lives are certainly not easy all the time, but we make it work, and they are super talented people. Okay, so next I'd like to bring up Ritchie Argue. He's going to talk about how we're connecting with the virtual production community and R&D.
Thanks, Mitch. So my name is Ritchie Argue. Like Mitch, I've also had a long history here at, well, not Fuse, but VER, and this entire team before us. And I'd just like to share with you 2 initiatives that Fuse is launching this year in this space. And first is more community engagement. So what we're looking at doing is joining other leaders in this group or in this space to participate in key industry organizations. So we've recently joined the SIMPTI RIS, or Rapid Industry Solutions On-Set Virtual Production Group. It's a mouthful. All of these things have too many acronyms. And so with them, we're currently focused on interoperability and improving interoperability between all of the equipment that you see here from all of these various manufacturers. Next, we've also hosted the Entertainment Technology Center from USC, or ETC, to do a validation test of the equipment, specifically the LED displays here, and really try and develop some metrics and ways to communicate how the performance of these LED displays is on camera. So the history of these displays is really about being viewed by eye, and that's how people talk about them. That's the specs we use. But viewing them on camera is a whole different game, and so we need to be able to communicate and understand what are the performance capabilities there, and we're developing repeatable tests and ways that you can validate the performance of these devices in these situations from different manufacturers. And lastly, we've recently started engaging with the American Society of Cinematographers on their standard evaluation material, or STEM content. They're coming up with a new one to help evaluate virtual production stages. Their previous initiative there was to release STEM 2, which evaluates cinema stages, or cinema screens, I should say, next generation HDR and wide color gamut screens. And we've got an example of that content running in the LED demo area in the back of the facility here. So this is a great example to see really well mastered high dynamic range and wide color content on a display that can reach almost 2,000 nits, and you get really to understand how this is changing the game with really punchy highlights and great color reproduction. Internally, we're also starting an R&D effort to develop better color management and color workflows. And so Fuse has made a big investment in calibration technology and tools, and also back toward the back of the facility here, you can stop by the calibration lane and look at the technology from Brompton that's enabling the LED to produce accurate color, and their new pure tone mechanism, I guess, that allows really good shadow detail reproduction, which is critical in this space, is being able to reproduce those deep shadows as well. Once we've got calibrated displays, then we can put together an intentional color managed workflow, separating creative control and technical transforms for all of the displays in this space, so we can accurately reproduce the cinematic assets that you've got on the technical displays back in the volume control, color grading displays, as well as calibrating the camera and LED itself, so that in all those cases we're getting the color we expect. And then lastly, we're looking at ways to improve the image-based lighting. So as you'll see in some of Kobe's demonstrations later, not only are we looking at the LED itself with the camera, but anything that's not in the camera view is going to be used to light the scene. But the way that the LEDs create an image is very different from the way the studio lighting or other lighting creates light. And so there's challenges there that we've got to overcome to really hit the mark in terms of lighting the people on stage or different materials. This is just a quick highlight or overview of what we're looking at here. Color is an incredibly deep rabbit hole. Cinematographers have very demanding requirements compared to the traditional or historical use of this technology, and we're doing what we can to really meet those demands and make sure that we're pushing the cutting edge with that here. And so with that, I'm going to turn you back to Mitch, who's going to give you a quick 101 level crash course overview in the technology behind this stages.
Yes. Okay, before we take off running with Kobe, we need to do a little pre-flight virtual production safety demonstration, or virtual production 101. We're going to go through some of the main concepts in terms that are in play here at the volume for anyone who doesn't know it yet. So let's start with the LED tiles. The LED volume is made up of individual LED tiles that are then built into LED surfaces, kind of like Legos. The LED tiles are fed images from playback engines through a video engineering pipeline. Let's move on to the camera tracking. So on this stage, we're using a Stipe Red Spy camera tracking system. Here we have the Red Spy device mounted on top of the RA production camera facing towards the ceiling. This camera is emitting infrared light towards the ceiling, and then there's a constellation of reflectors that are up there. You can kind of see them just a little bit. They're little like white squares up there. They're reflecting infrared light back down, and so this camera sees those dots and is able to calculate the position and rotation of the RE film camera. This system also transmits the camera's focus, iris, zoom, and other parameters back to the other engineering systems. Now that we know where the camera is on stage, let's talk about the frustum. In broad terms, it is a window into the virtual world as seen by the camera, projected onto the LED display. This lets us split the display into two parts. So you can see as the camera's moving here that this is floating. This is happening because this camera is determining this camera's location, transmitting that back to the servers, and then all of this is happening in real time. So on the frustum, we have the inner frustum, which is what the camera sees. And then we have the outer frustum that lights the environment. This is kind of in contrast to green screen methods where everything would have been green before, where the green must be rotoscoped out, the reflections will have been all over the set and have to be painted out, and where the talent and the crew doesn't have much to work with as far as what's going on. Okay, now that we've got the camera and the hardware covered, let's talk about content types. We have some samples up here on the screen showing a few different approaches to content. First, let's talk about 2D plates. They are flat video images that have been, up until recently, the most common method. This is an example of car process plates. So a plate could just be a single locked-off image. In this case, they've taken a vehicle, attached several cameras, driven the car down a tunnel, and then they render all those out, and those get loaded into a media server, which can be very cumbersome on set when you have lots of screens and lots of clips. And one issue with the 2D plates that we want to talk about is that the shot angles must be planned out before you go onto the plate acquisition phase. So you have to know where your screens are going to be and what the shot's going to be before you do this. So in contrast, there's spherical plates, and that allows for content to be acquired once. And then the final shot angles can be modified in the studio as the content is mapped dynamically to the display positions. Next, we have 2.5D. These plates add depth to the spherical plate concept, allowing content to be layered in at different depths and supports some camera movement with realistic parallax. And finally, the full 3D render engines immerse a virtual camera in a 3D space, and we project the camera's viewport into the LED display for the ultimate control of the environment. All right. Now that we have some of the foundational building blocks explained, let's talk about some virtual production applications, starting with LED volumes, like the one we're currently standing in. These stages are set up to be a versatile space for features and scripted episodic productions. Here's a couple examples, shots here. This is a stage that we have worked on in the past, and you can see there's a high-resolution ceiling and curved volume wall. In this space, we're using a mix of in-display and Unreal Engine for our real-time playback that you're about to see later with Kobe, and we're using Disguise workflow for content and plate playback. Over on stage 2, where this middle image was captured, it's our car process stage. So you can take a test drive on our system and go check that out over there after this demonstration. That stage is also running the Disguise workflow. So the LED screens can be like a Swiss Army knife, right? So we have the volumes and we have the car processes, and that can be, if somebody wants to get their feet wet with trying to work with cameras and LED, there are some other applications. For example, on First Man, we captured a wide establishing shot of Ryan Gosling in a spacesuit, and then we had him get out of the frame, and then we captured the background without him in it. Then weeks later, we loaded that plate onto a small LED wall, and we filmed up-close shots of the actor clipping on his suit, and it was super clean, super easy, super cost-effective, and captured in camera. Okay, so now that we've got this pre-flight demonstration complete, I'm going to turn it over to Kobe, and he's going to show you a scene.
Thank you, Mitch. Hello, hello. Thank you, Mitch, for getting everybody leveled. So my name is Henrique Kobylko. I know that's pretty difficult, so that's why I go by Kobe. I have the task of guiding our team through on-set virtual production. Basically, we create workflows to really try to help our clients achieve their vision on set in the most streamlined manner possible. We're always talking to key creatives to understand the difficulties. If that is director or DP or VFX supervisor or even producers, that's what we want to be doing, right? So we are receiving usually content from VFX houses or production houses and working in tandem with them to really get the ball going on the stage and get the shots in the most easy way possible. So I'm gonna welcome you guys to a really fantastic world. We're gonna be in like a fantasy kind of look first. and I'm going to go through topics when we're talking about this. I'm going to ask you guys to look at the monitors and look at the frame most of the time. I know that it's really compelling to look at the LED, and please, by all means, do it, but this is our frame. This is what we would be looking if we were shooting at film. And obviously, this is a live demonstration. We're usually doing this and getting these shots repeatedly and repeatedly until we get it perfectly, right? So this is very, very difficult to do, but we decided to do live in front of you guys. I want to bring the attention to what Mitch said about reflections and highlights. You see how our wizard crystal ball is really catching all of the highlights, all of the reflections, and imagine doing a shot like this in the pool of a green screen. Like, it would be really, really difficult to remove all of that green, to paint all of that reflections, and it would be very expensive in post-production, right? So as we start pulling out of the shot and going to a more established wide shot, we can start talking about camera. In the community, there's always a discussion about what is the right camera for the job, right? And there's not necessarily a right camera for the job. We love large formats because of the amount of pixel that gives us. We do like global shutters because that's really easy for us to sync. But we shoot most of the time with rolling shutter cameras, which is what we have right now. We have an Arri Alexa Mini LF, and Arri was very kind to loan us the equipment and a signature zoom lens. So thank you, Arri, for doing that. But we also have shot plenty with vintage film cameras. And the difficulty there is the buzzwords for virtual production, Gen-lock, which means that we need to sync the refresh rates of the camera to the screens, to the render nodes. So there is a very, very complex engineering system with a master clock syncing everything that you're seeing, including the camera feeds. The other interesting, so when we are in a vintage film camera, that becomes even more complicated, but the most modern cameras we can Gen-lock, right? Mitch mentioned the camera tracking system and how we get fizz data, focus, iris, and zoom through the camera tracking system. In this case that we were using the Arri, we're actually using an Arri metadata live link plugin that they developed. So we're getting that data straight out of the SDI into our system, which is pretty cool. We don't need to use encoders to get that data. And then the other interesting thing about cameras is depth of field, right? We want to shoot virtual production with a shallow depth of field, keeping the focus in our actor and keeping our backgrounds a little bit out of focus. So that's the most desired way of shooting. That means that we are tracking the focus distance of this lens all the time. But what if the DP comes to you and say, you know what? I want that background to be a little sharper or a little blurrier. So we developed a blueprint to actually go into manual mode. So right now we're tracking focus distance, but we're going to go into manual focus distance mode, and we are going to set the focus distance first to 100 centimeters. So we got a shot that has really, really blurry background. Then we are going to go now to maybe 400 centimeters, and that's going to get our background a little sharper. And then let's go to maybe 800 centimeters, and that's going to get our background even sharper on the screen. The thing is that focus is happening on the lens, so you're never actually going to get your shot to be 100% sharp because there's still physics, focus is happening in the physical lens, right? So from there, I think we want to talk a little bit about light cards and using the LED as a lighting instrument. Basically, we still will use physical lights and physical fixtures. Gaffers are still there to help us. We want to use key lights and fuel lights, and just the normal process. But we really can use the help of the LED to push some more lights and position these big areas of color that can push light into the scenery. So let's place our first light cards on the right-hand side, please. And then we see a big dots on the right-hand side. We can scale that dot, we can move it around, we can change opacity, we can change the feathering of that. It came with this deep purplish color already. So we already basically got a really cool mood. We could change the color if we wanted to, but it kind of looks cool already. It changed the mood of the shot, right? So we can take the light cards out now and we can move on. And I think our wizard is getting ready to do his first spell. All right, and just like that, live in front of you guys, we changed time of day. We went from nighttime to daytime, and that brings me to styles of lighting in Unreal Engine, right? A lot of the times we're going to use bake lighting, which means that the lighting is static in the scene. It allows you to do really creative things and beautiful lighting in Unreal. But we also have fully dynamic lighting, which is what we have right now on the stage. The scene with fully dynamic lighting really allows you to do adjustments live on set. We're running the most recent version of Unreal 5.1.1, and we're running it with Lumen and real-time global illumination. That means that we actually have in the game engine, light bouncing around the scene in real time. So like the shadows are not pitch black because that's what you would expect in the real world, right? Light hits the surface, bounces around, you get this global illumination effect. This means that we really need to optimize our scenes to have real-time lighting happening like that. And our team in the volume control, they're really experts in optimizing these scenes and making them run really well. So we can run that in the volume, in the frame rates that we need to be in sync with the camera shutter. Next thing, we can really manicure what we are doing here. And that's what's cool about all of this, is that we can adjust things individually. So if you look at the LED volume, I'm going to ask our team to bring the exposure of the outer frustum up. And let's bring that up one stop, please. So as you see, the background stays the same. We didn't mess with exposure in the camera, but there's a lot more lighting wrapping our actor, right? Let's get another stop up, please. Now we have even more lighting wrapping our actor. The background stays the same. We didn't mess with the inner frustum. Let's bring those two stops down, please. All right, so now we want to just adjust the inner frustum. So let's bring the inner frustum one stop up. So if you notice, the lighting in the actor stayed the same. Nothing changed. And we didn't mess with the iris of the camera. So just the outer frustum changed and you got a more overexposed background. So if we can bring that back to the normal exposure that we're in, awesome. So I think we are getting ready for a really, really cool moment and we're ready for yet another spell. So guys, please watch the frame. All right, so we did a full, thank you. Thanks for our art department to help with that transition. So we did a full 180 spin in front of you guys without moving the camera. The camera was in lock-off position, and we spin the scenic and we spin the worlds. Imagine that if you were to do this move, you would have to put a 180 track and really plan out that shot, and then you would be able to do that. But that just shows the power of the render engine, the real-time rendering, and how you can really reframe your shot and adjust things like that. Really just move your world around instead of you having to move around the world, right? So that's really cool. The other thing that I don't know if anybody noticed while we were doing this, because there was a lot going on, but we did a lighting gag here. We went from our RE orbiter that was casting the sunlight, we did a rainbow motion on all of our fixtures until we hit the other RE orbiter. The worlds, the sun didn't move in the digital worlds, but since we spin, we had to change the positions here, right? The reason why I bring this up is that we have what we call the Ring of Fire installed in this stage. And the Ring of Fire is all of these fixtures around the LED, the top of the LED, which allows for directionality of lights. The LED is really, really good for soft lighting, but we still need key lights, field lights. We still need directional lighting, right? So we have an amazing lighting department, as you guys heard, and when we're designing the stages, this is something that we can do, right? We can really install the fire ring or think about how we want to do these things. Obviously, it's available here at the stage. We can also bring it down, let the gaffers deal with lighting fixtures. Like all of these things are a possibility. The stage right now has 2 pods of LED in the ceiling, but it's meant to be a flexible stage. So we have the gear, we have the people, as you heard. A production needs a full LED ceiling. Boom, we put it up and we're ready to go. Same thing with LED floor or stage decking. Usually the stage will have a deck. We are not using it because we wanted to have our deck on casters to do this movement and bring the scenic in. So the other interesting thing is color, right? You guys heard about Ritchie talking about all of the color developments that we have and the color pipeline, but Unreal really gives you a bunch of powerful tools. I'm not going to show you every single one, but I'm going to mention we have the post-process volume, which allows you to do post-processing and coloring your scene as a whole. You can do per viewports color corrections, which means that I can adjust my ceiling, I can adjust my outer frescent, I can adjust my inner frescent individually. I have color correction windows, which is a little filter, just like a filter that you put in front of your lens. You know, whatever you see through it would be color corrected. And color correction volumes, which is a 3D object that whatever is intersecting, that gets color corrected. That is used a lot to match the physical set with the digital set. So now, besides all of these things, we added LiveGrade, SpawnFort LiveGrade Studio into our pipeline. That is a DIT software that it's usually in every single film set already. So we're letting the screen, we're letting the camera with SpawnForts, and we have full DIT capabilities, but we're also able to LUT on top of the LED processor, which is the last stop of the chain, right? So it really allows us to have a lot of creative control and put the language back, give that control back to the creatives. So like these handles, any VFX supervisor, any colorist, any DIT will understand what you do with this, and we can really play around with it. So one example is this, the sky I'm gonna get here just in between the blues, and we're doing this live. Maybe let's get our hue versus hue and push the blues up and just change the hue on the sky, and we're making just the sky green, right? Bringing it down maybe, and we'll make just the sky pink. Can you keep going down a little bit? Awesome. Maybe we can reset this value and just do the same thing with hue versus saturation and oversaturate that hue on the blues and push a lot of blue on that sky, or bring it down. So we had very granular control over color this way. Can we reset, please? And we're gonna move on. So I feel like we are ready for yet another spell. So if you watch the frame, it's really cool. It seems like he's flying through and stopping a different area of our 3D world. Usually, we would do this repositionings off camera, adjust it, and then shoot the next shots, right? But the cool thing that I wanted to show you this for is that this can be used as a creative tool on your tool belt. For instance, if you want to do a fly-through animation, Superman shots, or we talked about the car process with plates, but car process could be done this way with moving images, right? Or a really crazy chase scene, or for the more romantics, long walks in the beach, you know? It's just another tool that it's there for us. All right, I think we're done with Day Wizards. What do you think? All right, so basically here we have this dusk shot, and it's what we all love to talk about virtual production is golden hour all day, right? You're in a production, you want to shoot golden hour, you're going to get your entire crew, you're going to send to a remote location for hours, you're going to get permits, it's going to be really expensive to shoot maybe 3 minutes of light. Here, you can shoot golden hour all day for hours and hours and hours. Adjust and art direct your sun, art direct the colors, adjust the sun position. So it's just a really cool thing that we get to do, and we're all cozy and warm, not subject to rain. So whoever been in these types of shoots know that it's a challenge, right? So there was an object that we had that we were very unsure if we were going to use or not, but I want to bring that up, and that's the power of the real-time render. Can we bring the globe on the back, please? So thank you. And then we have that mountain way back there. It's kind of blocking the sun a little bit. Can we bring that down? All right. We can move objects around. You guys get the idea. Reframe the shot, really clear up. I actually like the mountain in the frame, so let's pull that back up, please. Think we are kind of done with the sun too. It's probably bright on his eyes. Nighttime. So nighttime, beautiful moon, beautiful framing. One of the things that I wanted to mention here that we have available is that I have a remote control. And I can change anything that they are changing back there myself on a little iPad. And that's a lot of power, sometimes too much power. And usually I'll be next to a director or a DP and we'll be making tweaks here. Because we're on a live show and I don't want to break things, I'm not going to touch it too much, but just to exemplify, I'm going to turn off the interfrustum and it's gone. You can shoot multicam, you can do a lot of things to it. I'm going to turn it back on, and then the idea behind all of this is that you get final pixels in camera, therefore the name, in camera VFX. But once in a while, we have a director that it's a little unsure of the shot, and he needs a green screen. The green screen is done only in the interfrustum. I'm turning off those markers. You still get the benefits of all the lighting and reflections, and boom. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this with some of our team members. If anybody wants to experiment with the iPad later, let us know, and we'll let you guys play. Supervised though, because it is a lot of power. So I think it's getting cold. Is anybody feeling that it's getting cold? And then the answer is fire. So we have particles being generated in real time. And the cool thing about this is not even just the particles and turning this on, but we really pixel mapped the video feeds. So you see that our fixtures are twinkling like fire and pushing the light into our wizard, right? This is not being generated in the lighting console. This is being generated in engine. transfer it through the network, and then it's going to the fixtures. So a lot of power there. There's a lot of things that we can do with that. Can we do one more move and go to the edge of that cave, since that night's really pretty? All right. Now that we are there, I think that we can talk a little bit about art direction. But first, let's get rid of that globe, please. It got really big when we got there. We really want to let him look at the sky. And we have a clear shot, beautiful framing. That moon is there, but I feel like he really wants to see some stars. So maybe we take the moon out of the way. All right, so we can really art direct the sky. That's the point that we're making here. And there's a lot that you can do with it. So it requires planning. We can do changes on the fly, but ideally we plan it out, right? From there on, I think like we are ready for a different type of sky. He already sky gaze a lot. Has anybody seen Aurora Borealis in Los Angeles? So there you go. We have Aurora Borealis in Los Angeles. It's fully volumetric aurora. It's also being pixel mapped, pushing some values to the fixtures. And yeah, so there's a lot that we can do. It's a beautiful shot. We showed you daytime, nighttime, dusk, night with moon, night with no moon. So in just 10 minutes, you saw a lot of different looks changing in front of your eyes. So imagine what you can really do with the tech, right? So now we're getting set to change, to do a set change in front of you guys as well. And we're gonna go from something that it's fantasy, not only changing something that it's fantasy. We're going across genders, and we're going from a fantasy look to maybe a rom-com kind of look, and going to a background that might be a little bit more realistic on the screen. So we can really shoot interiors, exteriors, make it super believable, and that's what we're achieving here right now. So, boom. We are at a bar scene now, daytime, completely different look, set change in front of you guys. The interesting thing to talk about it right now is the art department, right? The art department has ever been there. These guys have been great, and they did a lot for us. But there's a new guy in town now in camera VFX. That it's the virtual art department, what we call the VADs. And these two people need to be talking at all times. Usually the production designer is going to be in the middle of this conversation, and we're going to figure out if we need what assets are going to be physical and what assets are going to be digital. Before I forget, can we bring our fixture down, please? All right. So another cool thing about not having a full ceiling is that we have options for rigging things, for doing stunts. So every production will be different, right? So talking about these assets, and most often than not, they are going to have a digital twin, a digital version, and they're going to coexist in the same world, so we can sell the illusion. So we actually 3D scan these physical assets with Reality Scans, which is a free software from Epic Games, and we push them to the screen, so you have the same bar stool, the same table, the same light fixture happening physically and on the screen. And that really sells the illusion. The other thing that it's interesting is before we were changing time of day with animations and level sequences and really showing you guys that we can do this in front of your eyes, that's usually not how you're going to do. Usually you're going to have a pre-light day with a DP, you're going to adjust things, and you're going to save a bunch of presets, right? So these presets get saved on something that we call level snapshots. So we have this level snapshots editor, and we saved the daytime presets. But with one click, we can change from day to another preset that we already saved, and we can go to night. And it's as simple as that. Now we are in a more cozy kind of look. Then the next thing would be digital doubles and how we are bringing the scene to life digitally. We pre-shot these actors, and they are right now living in 2D planes, cards, as it's known in the effects. And that really sells the idea and bring the scene to life. So there's a lot that you can do right there. But with Unreal Engine, there's also the possibility of using full 3D characters and using metahumans, and you have a metahuman creator that you can really generate high fidelity characters, fully animated, rigged, and populate your scenes like that. I think I've been talking for a long, long time. So I just wanted to first thank everybody that really helped us put this together. The entire Fuse team was amazing. Like Arnie said, it takes a village. It's not just the virtual production team, it's operations, it's media servers, it's lighting. It's a lot of people coming together to make this happen. So yes, thank you to them. I also want to thank a couple people that really helped in all of this, which Alex Stan was our art director, brought with his team, brought these scenic pieces to life. Our DP, Grant, Rockstar, Dolly Grip, Michelle Gallagher, or AC Bennett. We had two people, which is Sam Slade and Jay Springs from Voluminous, that came to rescue when things got difficult, so I love you guys. And then I want to thank Ari for lending the camera. They're awesome. We have a great relationship. We're always exchanging favors. B&H Studios provided the dolly together with GL Fisher, so thank you guys. And then I want to thank you all for coming here, letting me speak to you and show you all of this, and really, really just show what we've been up to, and also allowing me to play art director and be filling your shoes. Usually you're the ones doing this. We're the ones helping you achieve it. So thank you for letting me do it. Thank you. It was a really, really a big pleasure to do that. I want to bring another person really just to say a couple words, and then we can get to some partying, because I do need a drink. So Vince Pace, are you around? Thank you.
Hello. Hello everyone. Before I even get started, I want to give a shout out to Adam Benjamin and Christian Dundee, the founders of Fuse, for hosting us here and providing this gathering. I think the Dundee family I've known for a while. Their commitment to virtual production has been from the very beginning. And for those of you who weren't there, I'll kind of give you some insight to it. The conversations kind of went like this. I need this really expensive tile. I need a lot of them. And production's only going to pay for maybe a month or two. And, to most people, it wouldn't make sense. But I think this technology has been in the DNA of the Dundees for quite some time. And they stepped up to the plate with gravity way back when, and continued that commitment in the industry. And now you're seeing, years later, quite a significant commitment to this industry. Virtual production is an emerging technology. It is going to be here. It's going to grow. It's going to be a part of your jobs in the industry, and I'm excited about that. We've got a 70,000 square foot stage here, and what a fantastic opportunity to share this with the content creators, the people who do this for a living in production, and so it's exciting for me. I was sitting in the back listening to it, and I was trying to figure out two things. One was my head going to explode, and the other one was what a great amount of opportunities. I wish I was young again, because so many careers that we're adding to the production community with this technology. You're getting a taste of all the different layers, from the engineering background to the content workflow to the actual infrastructure, right? So I think what I want to leave you guys with before you head to the bar and grab another drink and stuff is, why Fuse, right? Well, Fuse is about the people. And it really is, whether you talk about Will and Oliver, who handle the infrastructure and know what your power requirements is, know what your ground support is, know all of those aspects of production, to others like Jeremiah, who make sure those tiles deliver day in and day out, whether it's colorimetry, performance. We live in a professional community. The tools that we use have to be proven, tested. They have to meet the demands of production and be flexible to the changes of the creatives. That's the world we work in, and I'm sure all of you know that and respect that. You know, this is not the Harbor Freight for the mechanic. This is really a tool set that we know, you need to perform on set with. And so when you're talking about Genlock, delay, sync, those are all not conversations to be had on set. That's for our guys in the background to be having before that product ever hits your table. So really, I want you to feel that Fuse is a team. They're on a first name basis. And I want you to realize that we have here at Fuse a turnkey expertise. I don't care what aspect of virtual production that you saw in here. We've got people that speak to the basics, to the complex nature of it. This is not easy to do. It's actually very hard. But we welcome the dialogue. So bring us in early. I don't care if it's from the facility that you're going to use. I don't care if it's the creative interpretation of the technology. Let this team do their job, and that is to share their information with you. And so we welcome that opportunity, and we look forward to working with you in the future. So, thank you. I'm going to hand it back to Arnie.
All right, all right. And now it's time to hang out, have a good time, talk amongst yourselves and amongst our Fuse people. I just want to ask real quick, how many people work in virtual production? Raise your hand if you could, if you don't mind. Quite a few. How many people here work at Fuse? Raise your hand if you work at Fuse. Oh, there's more than that. Okay. Find someone with one of these badges, speak with them, and really enjoy our space, have a drink, enjoy what we do. I want to make sure there's also a building just next door that supports these stages. If you haven't been down there, you just head out this door or this door. It's just next door, a brick building. We have dressing rooms there to support the stages. You don't need to bring star wagons as many as you normally would. We have dressing rooms, showers, all the fun stuff, washer, dryer, ice maker. It's a great facility. I'm very proud of it. Please make sure you get down there to look at it. There's some beers and wine down there as well. Make sure you get to the back. Take a look at the LED we're hanging for you guys to take a look at. Everything from 1 mil really tight pixel pitch to some of the other stuff we're using like this. And make sure you get to the machine room, the car process, and enjoy yourself. Have a great time the rest of the night. Bar's open. Have a good time. Thank you for coming.